And there's a lot happening. Oh my goodness. There's so much happening. My name is Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Those of you who are new, welcome to my channel. So much is happening. I got a big show today at 6 o'clock that you will not want to miss, 6 o'clock Eastern time. But there's a few things I wanted to go over with you early on. I want to pull this story up. This story just really blew my mind. Got a few things here. Let me pull this one up. I should have had it queued up already. Okay. This just totally blew my mind, okay? James O'Keefe at Project Veritas has done so many good things. And James O'Keefe, he breaks major stories all of the time. And there's shocking things that people don't cover because of all kinds of reasons. But they basically don't like him breaking news. He embarrasses the media. He is uncovering things that the political establishment are doing that they just don't want the public to know about. And he's got a story today. Listen to this. This he posted this 9 hours ago. So this was posted by James O'Keefe at like 6 o'clock last night Eastern time. It's part 2 of an ongoing story. And when James O'Keefe founded Project Veritas, it came to so many things came out of it. And this latest Project Veritas story, listen to this. Bill Barr, who, if you remember, Bill Barr was President Trump's attorney general at the end of his first term. And they have a whistleblower they gave an interview with. Bill Barr held, and this is over in the Otto Penn Biden administration period. Bill Barr held secret meetings to plot prosecutions of Trump. Hear that? Bill Barr held secret meetings to plot prosecutions of Trump and block his political comeback. The whistleblower, her name's Patricia, she's on camera and everything. She says, Bill Barr was like, we should bring RICO because it's a very difficult charge to defend. He said, Bill Barr, it's a quote, we should bring RICO because it's a very difficult type of charge to defend. And Armstrong Williams was involved in this. So, the number of plots against President Trump, welcome everyone, is endless. I mean, for President Trump to be back in the White House and doing all these great things he's doing, there's so many plots against him that we don't even know about. We found out about this thing from Project Veritas. Catherine Herridge on Fox broke a story a couple days ago that I shared of another coup where after President Trump fired Comey, Rod Rosenstein, acting attorney general, and the FBI were plotting to invoke the 25th Amendment on President Trump as a response to him firing Comey. And for the 25th Amendment, they need the vice president and the majority of the cabinet. So they had cabinet members of Trump's and probably Pence, obviously, working with them on that coup. But what this woman says, and she was working in this organization, she says, Bill Barr held secret meetings to plot prosecutions of Trump and block his political comeback. Bill Barr was like, we should bring RICO because it's a very difficult type of charge to defend. Well, RICO, now see, this is what it's got me thinking. RICO is what Fani Willis's charges were in Fulton County, Georgia. So was Bill Barr involved with what was going on with Fani Willis? You know, when these Pam Bondi grand juries start coming out with the things they've released, the things they've uncovered, it's going to be shocking. I mean, this is brand new stuff from Project Veritas. We know that Barr's a bad guy, but who knew this, right? You know, it's amazing, this illusion of freedom that we've had in this country, and it's just been an illusion. We've had this ruling elite, this permanent Washington class, this secret nobility that's really been running the country all this time. And we've just had this illusion of freedom.
And I like stuff.
Let me play some of this. Let me pull it up.
It's very easy to know why I am being persecuted and no one else.
This is the Project Veritas whistleblower.
In charge of persecuted. It's very easy. I called the FBI to report Bill Barr and Armstrong Williams. I have notes of every single meeting. One meeting can be about visa for someone, or another meeting can be about January 6th or RICO case. I have a quote here that was like, Barr believes the FBI will go to Trump House soon. And one thing that I heard a lot is like how they go to prevent America to have Trump again. One thing that I learned very fast and very at the beginning is like, Bill Barr is someone extremely important. And
okay, so you hear that's the woman, and she's got all kinds of info here. I mean, and she's got photographs with them. She's got detailed handwritten notes that she took all along the way. She is the real deal. And Bill Barr's got some explaining to do, doesn't he? I mean, you know, because it really does look like Bill Barr could have been working with whoever was behind the Fani Willis, because if he's talking about RICO, bringing RICO, Fani Willis brought RICO charges against Trump and top people around him. It's really scary. I saw this as I'm going through my show prep, and it just was so disturbing to see what Bill Barr was doing. Well, Antonio says it's time to take, a lot of action is being taken, right? Right here in Florida, Pam Bondi has a grand jury in place. Apparently she has multiple grand juries, it's being reported, and it's all about the lawfare and the coups against Trump. So a lot of these things like this are probably a part of that. So no, so things are happening, action is happening, and I know it's tough to be patient, but we have to be. You know, we have to trust in Trump and his team, and it looks like they're getting to the bottom of things. And you know, now we know why Bongino and Cash Patel were so nervous and sweating when they were on Bartiromo's show, because they started seeing how deep this anti-Trump conspiracy really was, and they started to lose it. And you can see it here. I mean, this is really frightening to me that Bill Barr in this auto pen during the Biden years, that Bill Barr was working on this. And I'm very, I don't know what's Armstrong Williams' role in it. I hope we get more information on this. But it's going to be suppressed by the media. But this is why Pam Bondi's been taking so much time. These are seriously powerful people. You know, it's not a distraction. What's not a distraction? This is what it's all about. I mean, this is, you know, the fact that and when you hear more of these things, doesn't it back you up even more in your thinking that the same people that shot Kennedy shot Trump? It seems that way, you know. It certainly seems that way. You know, this was a really, really deep conspiracy like we have never seen before. Now, the other thing, President, this is going to be something I talk about at the top of the show at 6, is the new census is freaking them out. This is Dana Bash on CNN talking about Trump ordering the mid-decade census. This is great.
The census for citizens only. President Trump is issuing a new order to his government to take a new measurement of the country and to leave undocumented immigrants out of the calculations.
Sounds good. Who is Daniel? He's taken health care away from some. President Trump has not taken health care away from anyone other than illegals who were illegally getting health care.
Is there an actual plan behind this, or was this sort of one of those Donald Trump posts that he hopes people follow along with?
I think it's the latter, Dana. It's very unclear as of now whether or not his team is going to try and move forward with this. But also, I mean, this is something we've seen before from the president himself. I remind you, back in 2020, in the lead up to that census, the president was fighting repeatedly to try and insert a citizen question into that. It would be the first time that that was changed since 1950. Now, ultimately, the Supreme Court had blocked it then, but we still saw the president try and move to kind of request citizen data from other agencies. But I also think what's important is that this is, of course, would be a long-standing shift in census practices.
Yeah, Stephen Miller said the other day that if we have an accurate census, the Democrats are going to lose between 20 and 30 seats in Congress. Can you imagine? 20 to 30 seats they're going to lose with an accurate census. Back to CNN here.
The surveys historically counted all residents regardless of immigration status. And the census website actually cites Article 1, Section 2 of the Constitution on that reasoning. But I think what's really important here about all of this, Dan, of course, is the timing of it. It comes as the president is really encouraging Texas Republicans and other Republicans in red states to try and redraw congressional maps to help boost their chances in the 2026 midterms. And redistricting, of course, usually takes place after the census is done, and that happens every 10 years. The next time it's up is not till 2030. All to say, I think we still have to figure out whether or not how committed the president actually is to this, but I do think everything that's going on with them looking forward to the midterms is definitely playing a factor in this.
Okay, now here, what you got on CNN here is a lot of manifestation attempts here. They're trying to manifest that Trump's not serious. Trump is as serious as a heart attack when it comes to this new census. The census we have is wrong. And if you notice, they've got, President Trump's people haven't been very specific about how they're going to do the new census, but they keep talking about data we have for the most recent election, the presidential election. The way the census usually works is you fill out forms that you get in the mail, you mail them in. The liberals send people to knock on doors in particular neighborhoods with particular households because they want to count people for certain reasons. And sadly, I live in a Democrat district. And I remember during the last census, I had something happen I never had happen before. I had a census taker come to my house. And she came to my house. I couldn't believe it. I was outside doing some yard work, and this woman comes up to me. She's like, I'm with the U.S. Census. She had ID and everything. And I think she came here because my daughter is black, and she's been registered on the census before as African-American, so she wanted to make sure they got that. But it's a Democrat district, so they're knocking on doors. That's how they want to do it, right? Because you're in a Democrat district. But I know, it sucks that I live in it. My neighborhood is a MAGA neighborhood. Certainly my street is, but my whole development is. But this is a Democrat congressional district. But they're trying to scare us away, the media, by saying Florida would lose 1 or 2 seats, and so would Texas. Those would be Democrat seats we'd lose. Don't worry. We would also lose 1 or 2 Democrats in the Congress, so it's fine. Don't let them scare you. But the way that Trump is thinking of doing the new census is not like they've done them in the past. and they have a lot of data. And it's also, I'm going to talk about this a lot on the show. It's also possible there may or may not be enough time to do a census and everything, and redistrict the House representation before the midterms. It might not be till the 2028 election that this would be done by. But if we got an accurate census, which President Trump knows that they have the ability to get a truly accurate census, and they put a map out there that they promote nonstop that shows that the Democrats are overrepresented by, I don't know, it could be even more than 30 seats, that they are so overrepresented in the Congress, that's going to piss people off. And it's going to be done. No matter what the lefties in the media say, no matter what Democrats try to convince themselves of, no matter what scare tactics, we're going to get a new census, and it's going to be an accurate census, and it's going to be done by President Trump, and it's going to be done soon. And that's the way. You can't, first of all, the way they do the census, like when they have activists who handle the census, how do we even know that they're counting real people, that they're not just making up? No, we don't know. The way they do the census is not accurate at all. And President Trump was trying to not count the illegals in the last census, but a lot was going on. He had all these evil people in his cabinet sabotage him and everything, and they couldn't get it done. So we have a census that's inaccurate, that is overly weighted to help the Democrats. Why should you count illegals towards congressional representation? Can't count illegals towards representation in Congress. And by the way, that also goes for the state legislatures. The state legislatures, state reps, state senators, those districts are drawn up based on the census too. So it's not just the federal legislature in Washington that's out of balance with fake census numbers benefiting the Democrats, but it's also all the state legislatures. Democrats are overrepresented in all of them too. The Democrats are, their real representation is so tiny that they're like a third party, right? And they only have the illusion of relevancy because of all these things that we're talking about. So the census is going to happen. We're going to get some real numbers, and it's going to freak a lot of people out. When we see the real census numbers, the population, let's see here. What is the U.S. population right now? According to the last census. Let me look it up. Let's see, according to the last census, what's the U.S. population? Okay. They are saying, okay, as of mid-2024, the U.S. Census officially estimated the population of the 50 states and the District of Columbia, so they're not including the territories, of at 340 million and 110,988, so 340 million. What do you think the population really is, right? If we had an accurate census that only counted U.S. citizens and people in the country legally, and you did not count the illegals, of that 340 million population they're estimating, what do you think the population would be? When I was in high school, which was in the 80s, I graduated high school in 1989, the population was around 200 million. Well, they're saying that the population's 340 million as the latest census data. I think the population of U.S. citizens is under 300 million. I bet you the real population is about 250 to 280 million. What would you think? 290? Yeah, it's under 300 million. Yeah, it was like we're on The Price is Right, huge heat and air, right? Yeah, yeah, yeah. And those, yeah, I would say the population's really under 300 million. Yeah, I would say between 250 and I'll give huge heat there 290. It's between 250 and 290, but but I think it's south of 290. If you didn't count the illegals and however else they're putting people in there, if it was 200 million, let me see. Let me see. When I graduated high school, they have the population at 246 million. No. And with so many people that are gay and all these different genders, they're not having reproductive sex. So they don't increase the population that way. Give me a yes or no. Okay, so the official census numbers have the U.S. population at 342 million. Do you yes or no, do you think the real population is under 300 million? I think it's under 300 million. And it could be well under 300 million. Oh, yeah. Yeah. No doubt. Now, if you're new to my channel, make sure that you subscribe. All right, make sure you subscribe. I'll be live in the studio in about 2 hours, and I'll be taking 2 calls. Well, we're going to know, Mike Smith, because President Trump is going to do an accurate census. I mean, think about it. What would happen if President Trump census, because he's going to do the census, and he has a new way to do it that's not been done before, because they've said using data from the last election. So things are so high-tech now. So they got some ways we don't know about. Jay, found the channel about 20 seconds ago. Welcome. You haven't seen anything yet, man. This is the pre-show in my living room. I'm going to be live on the radio in a couple of hours. And I'll be taking live calls in the studio. But, so welcome, Jay. So if President Trump's census comes out and shows that the population is really 290 million, not 342 million, and the overrepresentation is in the Democrat states, and what would that do? What would that do? How would that affect everything in the country? I think people would be pissed. I think people would be pissed at the Democrats over that. I really do. I mean, you've got California and New York, right? And their populations are so overinflated with the illegals and everything that they're counting, plus whatever else they're doing. Now, this is huge, and this new census, it didn't just come up this week. Trump and MAGA Republicans have been talking about this for months. It's new to maybe you, but Republicans have been talking about this for a little while, throughout Trump's whole second term. So this is something that President Trump is very serious about. This is not something that he came up with on some whim, which is how they're trying to present it. That's not what's happened here at all. Yeah. But I think the population is south of 300 million. I really do. I really do. These and there will be some states that lose representation that are Republican, but the way they'll redraw the districts is to benefit the Republicans. Mm-hmm. I didn't see your question, Marissa. I don't see any. In fact, scrolling back, I don't see a question. A lot of trolls, they claim to have asked questions that don't get answered. Ask your question now in 10 seconds so everybody can see. I'm not promising the answer. Welcome, Germany. If you're new to my channel, my name's Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Make sure you subscribe. Make America Great Britain again? Oh, no. No, we don't want to be part of the caliph. There is no Great Britain anymore. It's been conquered. Prices are going down, man. Not up, they're going down. No, this is amazing. And you can, like with that CNN clip I played, I'm gonna play that on the program this morning. You could sense the panic with the left over the census, doing a new census. And Trump doing it. They're in a panic about it. You can really feel it because they know that everything Trump is saying is right. It is. They know it is. They're panicked. We're on to them. And there's nothing they can do to stop him from doing it. He is going to do it. And he'll do it. He'll through executive order. We need to know what the real population of the country is. Not this Democrat fantasy of what the population is and where the people live. Oh, I think that the Trump census is going to shock all of us. When we get when the Trump census comes out and we get the real numbers, we're all going to be like, what the heck? And those of you that aren't in the United States, with the congressional representation, there's 435 members of the House and 100 members of the Senate. Those numbers never change. Each state gets 2 senators, but the House of Representatives has 435 members. So that number doesn't change. So when the population changes, they just move around how many members of the House of Representatives different states have. Some states gain congressmen, some lose. So this would freak this. You can tell the Democrats are in a state of utter panic. I saw James Carville. He's like, oh, when we get back in, we got to make Puerto Rico and Washington, D.C. states, right? So they get House representation and 4 new Democrat senators. Trickle-down economics is basic capitalism. It's capitalism is trickle-down economics. Yep. If you're new to my channel, make sure that you subscribe. And you don't want to miss my next stream where I'm taking live calls. And today's Friday, so it's open phones on Friday. We call it Open MAGA Mike Friday. And on Open MAGA Mike Friday, you can call in about any and everything on your mind. But this is what I'm going to be leading with, plus, President Trump's entire midterm election plan to lead us to victory. So I'm going to be covering all that stuff. Sure, trickle down works. That is basic economics. Right? Your boss pays you with money, so your boss gets paid by his customers. So the customer's money trickles down to your boss. He pays you. So the money in your pocket trickled down from your boss to you. Then you go out and pay your rent or make a car payment or go buy coffee. Your money trickled down to whoever you pay. That's trickle down economics. It's called capitalism. It's people. Democrats, liberals are so stupid. They got this thing in their head. Trickle down's wrong. It's evil. It's bad. They don't even know what it is. They're like trained seals, begging for their fish from the trainer. Billionaires get more money. They don't get money. They make money. They earn money. They don't get money. My occupation is I am a talk show host. That is Pepsi. Hey, Pepsi. What's up, buddy? Pepsi likes to be on YouTube. Yeah, billionaires earn their money. They don't get welfare or anything like that. Make sure you subscribe. On my next stream, I'll be live on the air taking calls, and the toll-free number will be pinned in the chat room during that stream. You will not want to miss it. No, no disability. Nope, not on disability. Subsidies are not tax cuts and tax deductions are not. It's not welfare. Welfare is, like people that are on welfare. The government sends them money. They don't have any money. The government sends them money that's not theirs. Right? That's welfare. Tax deductions for corporations or for people that are wealthy, or anyone that gets tax deductions. That's not welfare. The government's saying you can keep more of your own money that you earned. Right? That's the difference. That's not welfare. Exactly. I tell you, it's amazing. Generation after generation, they go to school and they learn the same left-wing bullshit, right? Corporate welfare, billionaire. They've changed corporate welfare to billionaires, but over the year. But it's when you get a tax cut, it's just the government saying you can keep more of your own money. That's not welfare. Oh my goodness. These lefties, they just don't get it. But school's out. It's the summer. Probably children that don't have a basic understanding of anything. That mommy and daddy pay for everything, so they don't understand how things work. When they grow up and get real jobs, they'll understand. But getting a tax deduction is worse than welfare? Hell no. Nope. Well, good for you. 2 jobs. Awesome. Hardworking guy. No, well, no, this is my job. That's correct. Been doing this my entire life. My whole adult life. That's what I've been. Talk show host my whole adult life. If you're new, make sure you subscribe and make sure you check out my channel. You'll see what I do most of the time. So Candace Owens is freaking out. Let me pull this up. This is Candace Owens here. She's got this. The Macrons are suing her. She's been trashing Trump for like a couple of years now, and now she's upset that President Trump and J.D. Vance aren't coming to her rescue. Let me play some of this.
The more that I think about it, the more absurd it is. Now, the Trump administration purports to care about free speech. That was what they ran on. Of course, they're not doing any of that stuff anymore. They're creating DEI for Israel and pushing through laws to redefine anti-Semitism. But they pretended to care about free speech, and you had J.D. Vance, who went over there to Europe and gave a whole speech, tisk to all of you European leaders that are no longer listening to what your constituents want and are instead punishing them for their speech. If the majority of your constituents think something, you can't create laws and punish them. Right? That was kind of the gist of his speech.
Now listen to this.
The markets have decided what they want, and now you're punishing these people. That's crazy, he said. America's going to be a leader. We don't believe in this. We won't support this. Then you have a literal European leader.
Listen to what she says here.
That is basically saying F you to the American Constitution. Right? Emmanuel Macron and Brigitte are saying, you know what? We don't like that podcaster in America. And we are going to launch a lawsuit that's never been launched before, an unprecedented lawsuit to impoverish her for speaking.
Listen to this.
And both J.D. Vance and Trump have not issued a statement. In fact, where are the journalists even asking them to make a statement? Okay, a state leader is speaking about your constituent and launching a lawsuit and saying they're going to impoverish them for executing their First Amendment right. Where are you? If you are Trump, the first thing you should have done, if you purport to care about America and our Constitution, as you're supposed to be the person that's defending that day in and day out, you would come out and you would say, I don't even know whether I believe that she's a man or woman. Doesn't matter, right? I didn't watch the series. Fair. He didn't watch the series. He could even say, like he said.
Wait, talk about if you looked up narcissist in the dictionary, it'd have a picture of Candace Owens. She thinks President Trump and J.D. Vance should come to her defense in this Macron lawsuit. First of all, she's been doing nothing but trashing Trump for the last couple of years and been saying terrible things, and a lot lately. And now she thinks that Trump should be watching her series on the Macrons and come to her defense. She is out of her mind. She's out of her mind. Why should he come to her defense? What is she doing that's so important? Right? What is she doing that is so important? She is. I wonder if she was always this crazy. You know, some people think that she lost. You know, sometimes childbirth can cause psychological issues in women. I've heard some people think that's what it may be. I'm not sure, but she is most definitely completely insane, Candace Owens. I mean, she is not a sane. She's not a sane person. She's just not. I mean, it's really sad because she was so helpful to our entire movement. She could still have been a great help, but she messed everything up. Now here's Carville. This is James Carville, the raging Cajun he calls himself. Listen to this lunatic.
If the Democrats win the presidency, the Senate, and the House in 2028, which is not impossible, they are just going to have to unilaterally add Puerto Rico and District of Columbia states, and they may have to expand the court to 13 members. If you want to save democracy, I think you got to do all of those things.
To save democracy, we have to end democracy and pack the Supreme Court. Oh my goodness! I mean, he is just it's so funny that he would say that openly, right? Like that's a good idea. If packing the court's a good idea, then why don't we just have Trump pack it? He wants to add 4 new members to the court. Okay, I'll support that. Let's allow Trump to get 4 new members to the Supreme Court. Let's do it now, James Carville. I think that's a great idea, right? They don't even hear themselves. FDR tried to pack the court, and he was unsuccessful. Now, you may not have heard President Trump has ended another war. Listen to this. I can't even pronounce, at this hour of the morning, I can't even pronounce this country totally. Leaders of Armenia and Azerbaijan, how do you say that? Azerbaijan, who are at war with one another, are going to meet at the White House today for an official peace signing ceremony. President Trump has ended another war. That's amazing. I mean, this guy, does he have the record for the number of wars ended by a single president? Is that like 8 now? I'm losing track of all the wars that he's ended. But he's ending about a war a month, maybe actually more. It's fantastic what he's doing. It doesn't get better than this. I mean, my goodness. No, he's been ending wars all over the place. Yeah. Yeah. I was watching an interview, I might play this later, with Tucker Carlson's dad. It's an old interview. It's from C-SPAN, and he's very heavy set, but he's got this. Tucker and him share a lot of mannerisms, but Tucker Carlson's dad worked with Monica Lewinsky. Let me pull this up. This is Tucker Carlson's dad.
Let
me go back.
And I sold the book.
Oh yeah, here we
in
go.
a law firm, Deckert, Price and Rhodes. And
former counsel to Richard Nixon, Leonard Garner.
Yes, Leonard, a great guy.
Okay, this is Tucker Carlson's father on C-SPAN, interviewed by the late Brian Lamb. Listen to this.
And a good friend of mine, and that's how I met Scooter, through Leonard.
Scooter Libby.
Actually, Scooter represented me. This is interesting. I've never mentioned this because nobody ever asked me, but I represented Monica Lewinsky in her book deals. I was her book agent.
Wow.
And I sold the book, my storybook.
Wow. So Tucker Carlson's dad got Monica Lewinsky her book deal. Did any of you ever hear that before? That's huge.
Anyway, I did. And I did a couple of other things for her, having to do with representing her. Not a press representation. I stayed out of the press, but sort of quasi-legal representation. And when I drew up the contract with Monica, it was Scooter Libby who drew it up for me. So, I mean, nothing wrong with that.
How did you get into that?
Well, Monica's mother married, we talk about coincidences, married a fellow who had been Peter Strauss, who had been director of the Voice of America in the Carter administration. Peter Strauss, fine guy from New York, owned Strauss Communications, which had radio stations and newspapers. And Monica's mother, after the scandal broke, within about 6 or 7 months, that summer.
This is nuts.
I didn't know Monica's mother, and I didn't know Monica, but I knew Peter Strauss. Peter Strauss' wife, Ellen Sulzberger, had died 2 or 3 years before. Peter's older, and Peter married Monica's mother. And then Peter called me and said, that summer, the summer of the scandal had broken around December, as I remember, called me and asked me if I would come to New York and talk to Monica, because they were trying to find ways that Monica could legitimately, at a minimal amount of embarrassment, make money to help pay for her legal fees.
This is nuts.
I could see what the problem was. Because
Okay, now the reason I'm sharing this, okay, this is just fantastic. So Tucker Carlson last week, when he interviewed Candace Owens, said that his dad was in the CIA. So right here, when he's doing this interview, he's still in the CIA. When he was handling the Monica Lewinsky book deal, he was in the CIA. And the thing with the Clintons is really fascinating. The entire thing with the Clintons was a deep state operation to get the Clintons under control. Now the Clintons are part of the deep state now, but then they weren't. So now we're finding out that the CIA and the whole deep state were behind the entire Lewinsky affair. I wouldn't be surprised if she was a honeypot that they set him up with, would you? And now they got, and what did that result in? They got the Clintons under their control. That's right. They got the Clintons under the control. And now they've been doing their bidding for decades now. It's completely insane. It's completely insane. And that's what they were trying to do with Trump. They were trying to do to Trump what they did. First, they tried to do what they did to the Clintons, right? Get him on board, like they did the Clintons through this Lewinsky scandal. And then when that didn't work, they tried to do what they did to Nixon, which was get him to resign and drop out. That didn't work. And when that didn't work, they tried to do what they did to Kennedy, which is they shot him in Butler. Then they tried to do it again. I mean, it's really, you put all these pieces together. It's amazing. I'm going to go through this on the morning show today. But you guys are getting the pre-show here. I mean, this is some heavy-duty stuff, isn't it? I mean, my mind is like blown. Everything's coming together now. Everything's coming together. And this is really just blows my mind. Yep. Make sure you subscribe. If you are new to my channel, I'll be live in the studio in less than 2 hours taking your calls, all right? My name's Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk. I'll see you in a bit. Take care.